You're very welcome back to this very special edition of the AM show. We'll be coming to you live from Parliament House, where Roland and Mamavi are standing by with all the analysis of what's going down this morning as we prepare to hear the Finance Minister's mid-year review presented to Parliament. But first, the news. And in our first story, there are mixed expectations in Parliament ahead of today's mid-term budget review, despite reports that government is unlikely to increase the value-added tax as had been speculated. Now, whilst the majority remain confident that the budget review will set the tone for enhanced development, the minority says it has very little hope there will be anything new. The chairman of Parliament's Trade and Industry Committee, Nana Ameniampong, and vice chairman of the Health Committee, Dr. Nana Ayew, have been speaking with JoyNews.
If you want to take away the barrier to healthcare, and financing is one of the ultimate barriers to healthcare, why would you want to get my old person to co-pay at the hospital? Not until you meet a point that somebody goes to hospital without fear, that I have to speak to my child or my relative to give me money. The health insurance will not be effective until you eradicate that thing, that fear from there. That is only when the health insurance is effective. So if the budget is not going to increase taxes, it's going to add new taxes on otherwise newer areas, which is not existing, broadening a tax net. That's what we call a tax stamp. You go to new areas and then you want to do new areas. That's okay, that is novelty. But to add 1% to NHI, for me as a vice chairman of the health committee, if they will add just 1% to buy 1% to the NHI, only to allocate the resources for them, and then we can see eradicate entire issues to do with co-payment.
What I would tell Ghanaians is that they should keep faith with us as a party, NPP party and NPP government. We will never shortchange them. We'll make sure that whatever resources that we take from them, we'll not put it into unprofitable use. We'll make sure that they themselves, and they are seeing the benefits, except that, it takes some time. Because if your child is now having free education, at least maybe you have 6 children, 5 of them never had secondary education. You now have the last child being absorbed into government free education system. Then that alone should tell you that at least these are a different crop of Ghanaians, and I believe will never, like Liverpool said, they will never walk alone.
Voices from Parliament there. However, the ranking members on 2 other parliamentary committees, Health and Roads respectively, I'm speaking of Dr. Robert Kuganab-Leb and Kwame Agboja, say that the planned tax hikes will be bad for the country.
The nursing trainees are out of school and there's no hospital for them to go to. It is not an efficient way of spending money. So the road sector, sadly, I can predict there's not going to be much in terms of positive news. There's not going to be enough money to pay contractors, and the contractors pay the banks and actually generate employment in this country. It's going to be just dancing around the situation, but I predict 6 months after this budget, inflation would speed up, our budget deficit will be almost uncontrollable, and the hardship in this country will be worse. Businesses should be scared of what is going to happen tomorrow, because they are already struggling, and it's just going to get worse after tomorrow. No reliefs at all.
We have to first of all commit ourselves to being efficient in the use of the resources that come to NHIS.
Let's do some other stories. The Supreme Court has thrown out an injunction application seeking to halt entrance examinations for admission into the Ghana School of Law. The US-based Ghanaian academic Professor Kweku Asare in June this year sued the General Legal Counsel, saying the exams slated for July 27 is illegal. Now, he maintains the council failed to pass a law guiding the exam within 6 months as ordered by the Apex Court. Lawyers for the council Wednesday demanded dismissal of the writ, saying it was defective due to the absence of Professor Asare's signature. Joseph Akable reports on the request that was granted by the court.
The Supreme Court on June 22, 2017 ruled that the entrance examination and interview session organized by the Ghana School of Law is unconstitutional. The court further ordered that the General Legal Council ensures that regulations guiding their mode of admission is in place within 6 months. This was in a case filed by Professor Kweku Asare demanding that all first-degree law holders are given admission into the Ghana School of Law. In his fresh suit, Professor Asare maintains the law passed by Parliament in March 2018 cannot be relied upon to allow students to take the exam this year. Lawyers for the General Legal Council had raised concerns that Professor Kweku Asare had failed to sign the affidavit in support as was required by law. Lawyer for Professor Asare, Kofi Bentil, told the court they were willing to correct the defects if the court grants them the opportunity to do so. Upon further questions by the panel, lawyer Kofi Bentil informed the court of his decision to withdraw the writ. The 7-member panel in a unanimous decision struck out the writ. Professor Asare intends to file another writ.
These are some of the practicalities that the court should always take into account if the court is interested in administering justice. It shouldn't just be about the signature. The court should also think about when is the exam coming on, what exactly is achieved by this result or outcome that they have imposed on us. So we'll come back tomorrow, and when we come back tomorrow, we are going to insist that there's a hearing. Because justice demands that when somebody feels he's judicially sick, that's what I feel I am, that I'm judicially sick, I'm going to come to the court. The court is like the hospital for patients who have judicial problems. And they can't tell me there's no bed. They must make room and give me a bed to lie on tomorrow.
On to the Ashanti region next, and the regional minister is asking people who ply their trade along the Henson Lake Road in the Ashanti region to vacate for construction of that stretch to begin. Simon Osei Mensah has announced that work on the Henson Road to Abono Lake side will begin in August. The deplorable nature of the road has become a major talking point because it leads to the largest natural lake in West Africa, Lake Bosomtwe. Prince Apia has more in this report.
The Henson Kontenase Bosomtwe stretch is a very terrible one. Deep potholes are visible, lined up all through the stretch till one gets to the popular Lake Bosomtwe. Driving on this route, one will see many vehicles meandering their way to dodge these potholes. Drivers plying the route have often complained about the effect of this terrible road on their vehicles. Residents and businesses dotted along the stretch have often called on government to fix the road, but that has not been successful. Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei Mensah has, however, revealed the road will be fixed beginning next month. But before that, he told the areas to be affected and pleaded with residents and businesses along the stretch to vacate the place. He says the road is expected to be completed in 2 years.
This first piece, which is under the urban road, is starting from where the dualization ends at Henson, close to the brewery, and then it stretches up to Chapatre, getting to the boundary between now Asukwa municipality. Those days it was PMA and Bosomtwe district. From Bosomtwe district portion, it will be taken over by the highway, 8 kilometers up to a community called Akutuja. After that point, then there will be single lane up to Abono. But the whole stretch is asphalt. We don't want anybody's property to be destroyed by bulldozer or caterpillar or whatever. That is why we've moved from shop to shop to sensitize them to immediately remove all their properties from the affected areas. Already we've asked the urban roads to inform them. Urban roads have done that. I also have made several announcements on radio where we don't want a situation where somebody will say that I did not hear it already. That is why we decided to move from shop to shop.
Some residents that the minister engaged, though excited with the project, pleaded to be compensated when they vacated.
And because we are in the near future, because we can.
It will ease traffic in the long term, so it is good.
But when they get to the long run, now they have a problem. Into the long run,
It will put us out of business. A month's notice is very short. We want the road, but we need some compensation because our job is on the line, she says. But the minister disclosed only those with KMA permit will be compensated.
Department is working on it, and when they are done, we know those who qualify for compensation. Those who may qualify are only those who were given help by the then Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly.
Prince Apia reporting.
In the West Gunja district of the northern region, persons with disabilities are beaming with smiles following presentation of economic tools to them by the West Gunja District Assembly. According to them, the items and tools which were brought from the Disability Fund will go a long way to make them self-sufficient. Rafiq Salam reports from Damongo in the north.
About 10% of Ghana's population are persons with disability, PWD. Although their rights are guaranteed both by Ghana's constitution and by international conventions, in reality, these provisions have offered them very little protection against discrimination. For example, the 10-year moratorium given by the Act of Parliament on the disability law for all buildings to be renovated to disability-friendly status has indeed not been met. At a short ceremony at Wochao by the Wawes District Assembly to donate wheelchairs, hair dryers, and sewing machines to persons with disabilities, some of them expressed worry about the blatant disregard by government agencies and contractors to implement the act. Abdullahi Barkisu and Dara Asapolina hails from Taningne and Bulli respectively, and are both have mobility challenges.
I once went to the regional library to look for some information. I was supposed to climb upstairs. I have to put my crutches down and crawl upstairs. On reaching there, I needed the crutches. A good Samaritan picked them up for me. It was the same when I was climbing down. My appeal to the government is to take a serious look at public buildings to make them disability friendly.
They don't make the place to be disabled friendly. So if you come with, if somebody pick you with a motorbike and you are coming, if there is no people to pick you down, you can't get down. You can't even crawl to enter the district. I'll appeal to the people that anytime they should make the place disabled friendly so that some of us can also enter into the office.
Wawes District Chief Executive Edward Libiri Sobo spoke of plans taken by the Assembly to support persons with disabilities in the district.
The Disability Fund Management Committee has undertaken a sensitization of PWDs on how to access the Disability Common Fund in 3 institutions and communities across the district. The facilitators also use this opportunity to take data on the health insurance registration status of persons with disabilities, and this data will be forwarded to the District Health Insurance Office for onward submission to their National Office for approval, so that those people can enjoy free registration and renewal of their health insurance cards. Let me also add that we have done 2 disbursements of funds to persons with disabilities in the following areas: education, health, businesses, assistive devices, and technical aids.
Dar Asapolina, on behalf of her colleagues, thanked the Wawes District Assembly for the kind gesture.
I'm going for water. If I want to go and take something, I can go to where people are gathering. Like when they are gathering, I always be on the ground crying to that gathering. But now I can also sit on this wheelchair and I can go to that place.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam, Wochao.
And on that note from Rafiq, that's it for the news. More to come after this break.